rubella syndrome elimination in the region of the areas final report. Let me also point out to the Directing Council that the reference document here is document CD 55/INF/10 Rev 1, ladies and gentlemen. Give the floor to Dr. Luis Andrés de Francisco Sirpa to take the floor. He is the head of the unit on family, gender, and life cycle, to come join us at the head table. And I'm now pleased to give the floor to the representative of the Executive Committee so that we know where we stand on the subject. Go ahead.
Perdón. Plan de acción para mantener la eliminación del sarampión, rubiola, síndrome de rubiola congénita en la región de las Américas. Se informó al Comité Ejecutivo en junio
of the region of the Americas, 710 Plan of Action. We were able to report to the Executive Committee that measles, rubella, and congenital rubella syndrome elimination in the region of the Americas is the subject. As to measles, from 2014, there had been a few cases in a number of countries, and endemic instances had arisen in one of the countries, that was Brazil. However, we pointed out to the Executive Committee that for over a year now, there had not been cases reported in Brazil, and in August of this year, the International Committee of Experts would be looking at evidence as to the fact that transmission might have been eliminated there. If at the time the results of that assessment would be conclusive, then it could be said that measles had been eliminated in the region. A number of steps were decided in order to maintain elimination of both of these diseases, and you have all the necessary details on the subject in document CD 55/INF/10 Rev 1. However, since in a number of other of the regions of WHO, rubella and congenital rubella continue to exist, there might be a number of cases reported even so. So one of the suggestions is that in 2017, the World Assembly of Health adopt a resolution in favor of world elimination of measles and rubella. The Executive Committee hailed the elimination of measles and congenital rubella and was very pleased to learn what steps were being taken to eliminate measles. It also afforded its support to the various formulations put before it in order to maintain efforts to keep these diseases eliminated. The strategic steps that have been taken to keep a high vaccination rate and quality vaccination, it was felt would be very good in case there were a few cases reported. If countries cannot prevent the importing of cases, at the very least, they could stop transmission without, of course, guaranteeing this if there were not already a high level of immunity in the population and vaccinations of high quality. This was pointed out. It was also very much underscored that the disaggregation of data was important, so to identify populations in remote areas or with low vaccination rates and a number of other elements. And a resolution was considered satisfactory to be put before the World Health Assembly in order to aim for world elimination of measles and rubella, although it was pointed out that we should be cautious and prudent as to establishing a set date by which this might happen. Thanks very much. Thank you. I'm pleased now to give the floor to Dr. Francisco Sirpa for his presentation of this point. Thank you, Madam Chair, distinguished directing council, ministers of health, and representatives of the member states within this directing council. Madam Director of the Pan American Health Organization, the Madam Director General of the World Health Organization. As the chair of the Executive Committee has rightly pointed out, the aim of this document is principally to inform the Directing Council of the Pan American Health Organization as to progress achieved in the plan of action for maintaining measles, rubella, and congenital rubella syndrome elimination in the region of the Americas. This was approved at the Pan American Health Conference of 2012 under Resolution CSP 28.R14. It was also, of course, reported by the chair of the Executive Committee just now what the salient points under that particular rubric were. The International Committee of Experts last July went to Brazil in order to take a look at the final proof that transmission of measles had indeed been eliminated in that country, 1 year having passed before notification of the last endemic case thereof. The committee therefore reported that indeed transmission had been eliminated in Brazil. In August of this year, the International Committee of Experts met in order to weigh the reports that all member states had reported in the region regarding proof that had been adduced to declare that the endemic contamination or infection by measles had in fact been considered valid, and what measures should be taken to ensure that elimination be maintained. I would ask that Dr. Marcelina Dal-Fredis be given the floor, as she is the chair of the International Committee of Experts, expert on the elimination of measles and rubella in the Americas. She will inform this distinguished directing council of the final deliberations of that committee. Thank you. With great pleasure.
Invitamos a...
It is my pleasure to invite Dr. Marcelina Dal-Regis to share with us the experience of this International Expert Committee on a matter of great importance.
Madam Director of the Pan American Health Organization, Director General of the World Health Organization, distinguished ministers of health, heads of delegation, excellencies, ambassadors, delegates, members of the International Expert Committee. Today's occasion marks a significant public health milestone in the lives of the diverse communities across the Americas. We are here to report on and celebrate the success of the interruption of measles transmission in our hemisphere. Yes, indeed, in the countries of the Americas. This is an historic event, a major achievement made possible with shared vision, collaborative effort, skilled leadership in public health, and dedicated health workers from large urban centers to small villages everywhere in our region. Undergirded by the political commitment to get the job done, and with solidarity that no country in the Americas region will be left behind. What appeared to be impossible a decade ago is now a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, successes in eliminating the transmission of measles and controlling vaccine-preventable diseases are due in no small measure to maintaining high immunization coverage. This cannot be achieved without the involvement of the private and public sectors, our national programs of expanded immunization, the hard work and commitment of our public health workers in the field, the contribution of our laboratory partners, and the gallant effort of the national commissions that were appointed by our governments to verify the interruption of transmission of these diseases. These are all best practices to be shared with other regions of the world. The resolution CSP 24R16 in 1994 addressed the regional goal of measles elimination, and the resolution CD44R1 in 2003 addressed the regional goals of rubella and congenital rubella syndrome elimination. We agreed by that resolution that no country in the Americas would be left behind. And as you remember, by 2002, the last endemic measles case was reported in the Americas. In 2007, the Americas embarked on the process of documenting measles, rubella, and congenital rubella syndrome elimination. To this end, the countries were urged to establish their national verification commissions, and the International Expert Committee was formed, and we have been together since that time. The IEC. We were pleased to receive the independent reports signed by the respective National Verification Commission chairs between 2011 and 2014, and for a second time in 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, the task of verification was not without its challenges. Countries were able to overcome a number of geopolitical difficulties, including high coverage for mobile populations, for migrants. They dealt with cross-border issues, limited and sometimes no access to deprived areas, and the presence of areas with conflict situations. Very large countries were able to manage the particular challenge of communication between federal and government and municipalities. Now, today, we can all agree that immunization is for everyone. And we know that these viruses do not carry visas, passports, nor do they discriminate among people based on class, race, gender, or social status, or physical barriers. Many have risked their lives and continue to risk their lives to save the lives of others, including the unborn. And these successes were achieved by the identification of countries that had unimmunized populations and outbreaks. And we wish to acknowledge and congratulate the response to outbreaks and the corrective measures taken. This occurred in Brazil, Canada, Colombia, Ecuador, Haiti, the United States of America, and Venezuela. They had tremendous successes. In-country consultations with teams from PAHO and the IEC members made a difference. Countries readily received advice and acted on it. But distinguished delegates, there would be no success story for the Americas here today without the PAHO revolving fund for vaccine procurement, which is one of the best examples of Pan-Americanism. Pan-Americanism was also demonstrated in many other different forms of support we received. from the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention of the USA, the Measles and Rubella Initiative, the Public Health Agency of Canada, and the International Pediatric Society, among others, who provided technical and human resources where needed. Today, you in this assembly exemplify what true Pan-Americanism is. Without the high political commitment from the governments of the Americas you're representing here today, we would not have had this achievement. Our leaders know that immunization remains the greatest public health investment of all time. There are many champions here, some in the room and some who have left us. Sir George Allen, Dr. Myrta Roses, Dr. Ciro de Quadros, of course, Dr. John Andrus, Dr. Gina Tambini, Dr. Carlos Castillo, Dr. Beryl Lyons, Mr. Peter Carrasco, to name a few. The IEC members are champions too, and I wish them to know that their good work would receive their just reward from above, not here. On behalf of each IEC member, I wish to express thanks to the many governments and institutions that have allowed the effort to continue. On a personal note, a heartfelt thank you to the government of the Bahamas, and especially Dr. Perry Gomez, who's present here today. The support of our families and loved ones made our schedules possible, and we say thank you. In conclusion, the journey is not finished yet, and the national and regional efforts must continue. We must now maintain the elimination of measles and rubella transmission in the Americas and appeal for global eradication of measles. To the Director of PAHO and the Director General of WHO, this is your legacy. To the Ministers of Health assembled here today, your colleagues, your children, your grandchildren, and generations to come will be able to see you in that photograph on this day when we have declared the Americas free of endemic measles transmission. Thank you. Madam President of the Directing Council, I ask your permission to invite the Director of the Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Carissa Etienne, to receive the formal declaration of the Americas as free of measles on behalf of the Ministers of Health of the Americas, as well as the Director General of the World Health Organization, Dr. Margaret Chan.
Please, yes. información. Sí, definitivamente. Le concedo la...
Let me give the floor to the director of this Pan American Health Organization, Dr. Carissa Etienne, so that she may respond to this plenary of the Directing Council. You have the floor, madam.
We are the members of the technical
Okay.
committee.
Oh, this is really a moment when you're lost for words. Madam President of the Directing Council, Dr. Merslin Dalrages, President of the International Expert Committee for the Verification of Measles and Rubella Elimination, distinguished members of the International Expert Committee, Natasha Crowcroft, Isabel Patron, Luis Cooper, Jose Ignacio Santos, and Jose Castillo de Moraes. Let me thank you for the unstinting service that you give to public health. I want to also thank Dr. Merslin Dalrages for her dedication and commitment to public health. I think she will never retire. Together with the Ministers of Health and Immunization teams from all the countries in the Americas, as well as in the presence of WHO Director General Dr. Margaret Chan, I express our deepest gratitude for the presentation of this declaration of endemic measles virus elimination in the Americas. This declaration is a symbol of Pan-Americanism and the commitment of the countries of our region to not only set bold and ambitious public health goals, but also to attain them. We celebrate this historic day on which the scourge of measles has been defeated in our region. And I'm happy to be here today. What a privilege for me, and I'm sure for many of you who are here in this meeting. In this same room, 22 years ago, the Ministers of Health of the Americas celebrated polio eradication. And at the same time, on that same day, they resolved to eliminate measles, to continue forward towards another public health goal. We here today stand on their shoulders, the shoulders of those ministers of health, on the shoulders of health professionals across the region, health professionals like the late D.A. Henderson and Ciro de Cordros, and all of the PAHO staff who toil so heavily in countries and at headquarters. I wish also to recognize the leadership of former directors of PAHO, Dr. Sir George Arlene and Dr. Murta Roses, and Dr. Roses is here with us. I would like to especially thank all the unnamed heroes who made this dream a reality, the health workers who day in and day out have vaccinated children, not only in health facilities, but also in the most difficult to access areas, the very remotest areas of every country. Let me also thank those who have been dedicated to completing the noble task of researching each case until interrupting the endemic transmission of this virus, even under extremely difficult conditions. I am sincerely grateful for all of the partners that believed in this dream and supported the necessary actions to accelerate measles elimination in our countries. Among these important partners, we are accompanied today by representatives like from CDC, Public Health Canada, the Measles and Rubella Initiative, the UN Foundation, American Red Cross, WHO, and UNICEF, and from the Sabin Vaccine Institute. The region of the Americas is at the forefront of immunization at the global level. This imposes a great responsibility to share our experiences with other regions of the world. We have learned from our mistakes, and this has allowed us to develop and maintain elimination strategies. Now is the moment to implement all the necessary actions to avoid the re-establishment of endemic transmission of this deadly virus. We must strengthen epidemiological surveillance systems and maintain high vaccination coverage against measles and rubella. And you heard the call from Dr. Del Regis for this. We must ensure that we have strong routine immunization programs and high-quality vaccination campaigns as necessary. This will only be possible if within the member states and PAHO we sustain our commitment and leadership, as well as a wide coordination with our partners, allowing health workers to continue with their tireless efforts to improve the health of our population. So today we say bye-bye to indigenous transmission of measles. Thank you very, very much.
Let me now give the floor to Dr. Margaret Chang, Director General of the World Health Organization.
Excellencies, Dr. Del Regis and the IEC, Myrta, many partners, Carissa and your team. Let me begin by saying I agree with everything that Carissa has said, particularly in thanking each and everyone who has made tremendous contribution, past and present. It is indeed an honor for me to be at PAHO on this momentous day, an historical occasion not just for the region of the Americas, but also for the entire world. The Americas has again set the example for the rest of the world in disease elimination. As today, we witness the declaration that endemic transmission of measles has been eliminated from the region. I offer my heartfelt congratulations to all the ministers of health in this region and to you, Carissa, and your team for this great achievement. I also want to thank all the healthcare workers who often risk their lives to vaccinate their populations, and without whom this accomplishment would not have been possible. Dr. Del Regis, particularly to you, I want to share one secret that not too many of you know. As a new Director General attending the PAHO Regional Committee meeting in 2007, that's when I first took office, she kept coming to me and asked me, you must support the elimination of measles and rubella and so on and so forth. I said, just go for it. Here we are today. Thank you for your unfailing inspiration. And of course, Myrta, you know, we have many bilateral meetings, and every time she would remind us of the importance of elimination. So without your unfailing inspiration and push, we would not have been here today. So thank you. We do need leaders like her, particularly women leaders. Sorry, gentlemen. No, I mean, you know, we love our gentleman partners as well, but women is very, you know, persistent in networking, in making sure that, you know, they walk the journey to deliver, you know, what they want to set out, not just for her country, but also for her region. So let me once again thank you, the Americas region. It is my hope that other regions of the world are encouraged by the success of the Americas, and that the lessons learned here serve them as they move forward for their own elimination goals. The Americas region has shown that with strong national immunization programs, as referred to by so many of you, dedicated financing, and strong political commitment and partner support, measles can be stopped. Congratulations again to all the ministers and to the outstanding achievement in your countries and in the region, and also to you, Carissa, and your team. Thank you. Sorry, that's the DG's kiss.
Sí. Después de tanto emoción.
After so much excitement, let us take a 30-minute coffee break. And please wait a second. When we get back, we will have some time to discuss this issue. And you will all have an opportunity to speak. So before we go for the coffee break, we will give the floor to the DG who wants to say something.
Yeah, at this time, I would like to invite the ministers and heads of delegation to meet in the front here for a photo. This is a historic event and moment, and we need to capture it for posterity. Thanks.
Hello.
Stay. Say what you want.